Hi everyone, I'm xerocool and I'm currently affiliated 4 years of streaming and my goal is basically to inspire as many people as possible to chase their dreams. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 p.m. to about 6 in the morning. Hope to see you there.
Well, welcome. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited. So go ahead and tell me about yourself.
So I'm quite active in the streaming community. However, I like to divvy up the content, if that makes sense. Obviously, there's multiple platforms that are good for streaming, but I solely use Twitch for live content and YouTube for recorded content. It's not really any strategic thing. It's more so just a personal preference. And we're currently sitting at 1,500 followers with an average of about 20 people in viewership. And as a hobby, lots of anime and movie watching, lots and lots of time doing that. And I also work full-time at a warehouse as a machine operator.
Nice. Oh my God, good for you. I worked at a warehouse for probably 3 months just during the summer. And that was like an intense job.
It is quite intense, but it helps me keep active and keep the physical health as good as it can be.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's talk about burnout. Have you ever experienced it before? Was it kind of a slow burn, a big event, or are you experiencing it now?
That is a great question, and you brought it up at a perfect time because I am actually on a 1 month break right now. I have not streamed in 1 month because of burnout. 4 straight years from the day I started with 0 breaks, and I think it was mostly due to a lack of proper time management and balancing things out properly, not having a set schedule and just kind of improvising and winging things, which can work, but I think more often than not, having your things laid out in an organized plan helps to avoid that.
Yeah, a month isn't even that long. Like, it could be 6 months, and people will still be there for you when you do come back.
I'm so glad you have that perspective.
I do. I really do. So what part of streaming was the hardest for you? Was it the social media or what?
Actually, 2 specific things really stood out as challenges that I didn't realize they would be so challenging. So English is not my first language, and I thought initially that I could cater to a bigger audience by having separate days set for each language, not realizing that on whatever day I was using one language, it was going to entirely cancel out the audience for the other language. And I eventually had to make the decision to just choose one over the other, and we chose to go with English.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and pivoting content. I strictly only played competitive type esports games initially, and not only was it hindering my enjoyability, the entire experience, but I had already spent a decent amount of time building a community around that. So I almost had the same type of fallout from using 2 separate languages. Pivoting content to what I currently do canceled out the audience, and it was a decision that I just had to make. And I know it was the right one because, 1, I can go longer periods without feeling tired, still being excited and wanting to play and be live. And I feel more at home with the community that I've built now with this type of content.
Yeah, most definitely. So now that you're kind of a month out from streaming and you have this hindsight, what would you have done to change things so you wouldn't have got this burnout?
Moderation is the #1 thing that I think I should have been able to put into practice better. And this, obviously, we're applying it to content creation right now, but this applies to all aspects of life. And moderation, have everything laid out. When you allow yourself to take breaks and have a set schedule, it helps keep the fire alive for what your passion is, because no matter how much you love something, when you do it nonstop, consistently, you will get tired of it. take breaks, do other things you enjoy, and read a book, go out for a walk, go to the beach, etc., etc., you will keep that fire burning to come back, and it will also help the creative juices flow. You might come across ideas that when you're actively thinking about them, you just draw blanks.
Yeah, no, I love that. Such good advice. So what other advice would you give possibly to other streamers to avoid burnout or get through it if they're currently in it?
What I believe to be a false belief that to grow, to gain quote unquote popularity and attract a bigger audience, you need to be a content machine, pushing out content on all platforms 24/7. That is not true. That is entirely false, and I wholeheartedly believe that the quality of the content that you put out is much more important than the consistency and the quantity of content that you produce. It's much better to produce less content at high quality than to be pushing, excuse me for the lack of a better term, but mediocre content every single day.
Right. No, definitely. I agree. How did you personally, or did you not, navigate the social versus the streaming life and the work and the school and the et cetera, et cetera?
So navigating around work was a bit easy for me because I was fortunate enough to have a set schedule that never changes, so I was able to build everything else around that. As for the social aspect, that does provide a bit of a challenge for me. I have, without going into too much detail, a decent problem with social anxiety and interacting with other people. Even right now, whether I am obviously displaying it or not, I am very nervous. So I've taken steps to help ease that anxiety. For example, having the opportunity to work remotely, but choosing to purposely go out into the world to work, which forces you to have certain social interactions and whatnot, and just be more comfortable around other people.
Definitely. So other than that last little tidbit, do you have any other advice to give to other streamers that can help work on their personal life and their streaming life?
If you're an aspiring streamer, you should take the time to, before you ever hit go live once, just think about how you want to approach it and what would be better for you and the type of person that you are. I think it's very easy to also get complacent, especially once you've experienced any amount of success, no matter how big or small. Always keep learning, keep improving, and just trying to better yourself. And remember that behind the scenes work is just as important as the work that you do when you're live. It's not just hit live and play games and talk to people. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that are never seen by anyone else that isn't actively within the industry. So don't take that for granted. Always learn your craft, hone your craft, read. There's a lots of information out there, books, videos. There's always information out there, and it's free. If you truly have a passion for streaming, then also have the passion to learn the craft.
Most definitely. So my last question is, mental and physical health is super, super important. How do you stay on top of that, especially since you're on your break right now? How do you continue to stay on top of that once you come back from streaming?
Physically, I'm fortunate enough that my job is very physical, so I don't look too much into that. My health is in good standing. For the mental, my significant other, she is an absolute rock. And whether it be work stress, content creation stress, I can get home and just vent, and she will listen with no judgment and offer any sort of tips that she thinks would be helpful to me. She is right there to have my back, no questions asked. So I think it's very important to have, it doesn't necessarily obviously have to be a significant other, but it's very important to have, again, that support system.
Perfect. Well, that's it from me. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, once again, thank you, Holly. You're amazing. Great content. As always, keep doing what you're doing, and we appreciate you letting us be on.
Aw, thank you. All right, we're going to say goodbye to YouTube, and I'll say goodbye to you right afterwards, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you again, and bye, YouTube.
Bye, everyone.